Hi, welcome to an episode of Slay with me, Leigh M. Clark. It's a whole new year, so it's a new season. You're going to be seeing episodes faster, more empowered women with empowering stories, sharing exactly and demystifying how they got there and what the journey's been like. One of my favorite humans on the planet, Kimberley Menkhorst, is here today. She was part of the Slaying Naples book, which if you haven't picked it up, it's on Amazon along with all the other books in the series. And I call her a real estate icon. You'll see that in the social because literally she's doing way more than she has to, and she's doing it to be of service to the industry. So we're going to get into more of that today. But luxury real estate in Naples, as you can imagine, always a booming place to be in luxury real estate. So, Kim, welcome to the show. Tell everybody a little bit about yourself and your chapter.
Thank you so much. I'm excited to be here. So, I am originally from Pennsylvania. I have been in Naples almost 19 years, and I moved here on a whim for a job. Had been here one time for a conference, never knew anything about Naples, barely knew where it was on the map, and decided to move. So, my chapter kind of goes through coming here, not knowing one person, and then my boss actually set me up on a blind date with my now husband. And that was his cousin. So, it's a whole thing. And then it goes through 3 months after I met him, I was diagnosed with cancer and, navigating a new relationship, obviously devastating diagnosis, and just kind of how we built life since then, right? Started my own business after that, had 2 kids, and now living the mom icon, right? No, the mom life here and the entrepreneurial thing. So,
Mother entrepreneur icon, all the things.
all the
No,
things.
and that's crazy. I think when I had first interviewed you, we talked a little bit about what that was like being so new into a relationship, and that he was immediately in sickness and health and stayed and really showed you who he was. What was that like for you? Like going through cancer, you have a great attitude. Obviously, you're healthy now. What was that like going through that individually and as a couple?
Yeah, I mean, I talk about, I remember him telling me he was there when I got diagnosed, but it was like, oh, he didn't really think. Doctor said, oh, it's less than 10% chance that's what it is. And when he was there, I remember coming out and he said to me, we'll get through this together. We'll do what it takes. And I'm thinking, I don't even know you. Like, you don't even know me after, just 2 or 3 months. So I'm like, I appreciate the sentiment, but like, don't say it if you don't mean it kind of thing. And yeah, he was there, shaved my head, made it fun. Like we were always going and doing stuff, or if I didn't feel like it, he'd come to my place and watch movies. And, it's just you bond pretty quick, let's put it that way, right? When something traumatic
Yeah.
like that, it goes from 0 to 100. So yeah, it was, but I look back on it with him with like fond memories. Like we had a lot of fun at the same time. So
That's amazing to be falling in love and going through the worst
yeah,
time of your life
weird, but
simultaneously. But God works in mysterious ways. And I know your mom's a big part of your support system because we were kind of talking about that a little bit offline. So
yeah.
what was that like going through that with her and how is she a support to your family these days?
So what's interesting is my father was diagnosed with cancer around the same time. And
Mm.
yeah, so she was up in Pennsylvania taking care of him. He had to go for radiation every single day. So I know it was really tough on both of them not being here as much as possible. But the good news is I only missed one day of work through, 4 or 5 months of it. Um, and my work was amazing. They let me sleep, made a little bed in my office and, slept there when I was tired. But it was a good distraction. I enjoyed work and we had fun, like a great team. So it was good. And my parents, both, my dad has since passed away, but they've always been amazing. I started with an idyllic childhood. So I feel like a lot of that confidence with being independent grew from that, where they didn't guilt trip me when I moved 2,000 miles away. They always supported, you can always come home, but go out and explore the world. So I'm hoping when my kids get to be that age that I have the same kind of mindset because I know it's not easy to have your kids go far away.
And were you in real estate or marketing at the time or both?
I was in marketing. So I was out of college. I moved to Miami to work for an architect doing their marketing. And they were actually teamed with a construction company here doing FGCU projects. And they had said they had an opening, and I hated living in Miami. So I didn't know anything, but I said, you know what? How bad can it be? So I took a chance, applied for the job, and moved over here. And I was the marketing director for the biggest commercial construction company in Florida at the time. So it was
Yeah, that's amazing. And it's led you obviously into the path that you're in right now. And she's got a lot of confidential proprietary information that we are not going to share on the podcast today. But to say that you're marrying your marketing your love, foundational love of marketing to real estate and to your own personal experience in real estate. What's that journey been like as an entrepreneur?
Yeah, so one of the questions I was gonna even ask you is, so I'm an introvert by nature, right? Like I am not the typical realtor that just loves to talk to everyone and everywhere you go, from the waitress to the car mechanic, you're picking up leads. Like that's not me. I don't even have business cards, okay? Like that's kind of at the the level that I'm here now where it's just very relational. But, being introverted, everyone kept telling me you should do real estate, you should do real estate. I'm like, no, that is not the life for me. I'd prefer to be behind a computer and just working on marketing and stuff like that. But obviously I always say, like, I was marketing luxury buildings. We were building condos and libraries, like everything from Naples to Sarasota we were building. The company I worked for even built the Dallas Cowboy Stadium. Like it was really big fun projects, and I just translated that to marketing for luxury real estate. If you're good at marketing, you can market anything, right? So I lived in Naples, moved here, like I said, didn't know anything and anyone. I had to learn the area. So I was selling real estate in a sense before I even got my license, because I'd say, no, you don't go to the East Coast. You want to buy investment property, come over here. I had nothing to do with real estate, but I was already selling the area. Like, guys, I've lived in Delray Beach. I was in the Keys for a little bit. I was in Miami. Like, you want to be over here. This is way better. So it just kind of naturally translated. And then I really had to get out of my comfort zone. So that was like more my question for you too, is have you always been extroverted, or like did you have to skill set that? Because that is something that I really had to learn, and I still try to practice, is to like, oh, now you have a business, go out and find people and you don't like to talk to people. It's like,
Yeah. I'm more of an introverted extrovert. I do like to talk to people. I'm very curious about people.
Mhm.
Um, I almost have this thing where I never like think that people are like paying attention to me or judging me. So like I just almost don't have that lens of like, oh God, I don't want to embarrass myself. I don't even think people are paying attention, genuinely. But I think I don't like small talk. That's my thing. So if I go to a party, like I'm gonna be the first to leave. I don't want to talk about how hot it is in Florida. I'm not interested in like, oh, where are you from? Like I want to
Yeah.
know, and like this about me, and I'm very invested in wanting to know your backstory and like what you've been through and how that's affected you and like what's the wisdom that you've amassed. Like if we're gonna spend some time together, can we learn? And that's kind of nerdy of me, but I don't even like turn on TVs in hotel rooms for a reason. My humans are almost like an escapism. Like I love to hear the story. So that will lead me to ask rental car people like, oh, like, yeah, how long have we been at the counter? Like things like that. Um, but no, I'm not. I'm like an introverted extrovert. Like in the day to day, I'm not. You don't see me like brunching with my friends or going out. Like I'm kind of like a homebody. And I'm one of those people too, like the weird internet people where they seem like, oh, they have so many followers and so many connections. But like, I really talk to the women in the series, and like I have a couple friends that I like talk to, but I'm not as outspoken and like extroverted in my day to day. It's weird, isn't it weird like that? But I think the older I get too, like I'm less
No,
like
I
this is what
agree.
you see is
Sometimes
what you
my kids will
get.
be like, do you know that person at the store? I'm like, no, just making switches. Do you know everyone? I'm like, no, because I've gotten way better at it, right? Like I've learned my questions to ask and things to do, but I just was curious because, starting from like marketing, I was at a corporation. I was, yeah, dealing with people, sure, and we had a great time, but you know them, versus random strangers that you have to now get to like and trust you to, sell the biggest asset of their life, right?
Well, and you bring up an interesting point because you and I have this marketing advertising background in common. Like I went to school for advertising and I worked on Madison Avenue out of school. And I think for me, and probably you may feel the same, the marketing did the work for me. I'm not great at self-promotion. People think I'm so great at self-promotion. I'm really not. I'm good at promoting others. I'm really good at promoting others. I mean, that's what I do. But if we meet and people are like, "Oh, she's done 10," I'm like, don't, like I don't I'm an achievement junkie for myself for my own internal validation, but I don't like when people like talk about me. I don't even ever, if you've noticed, and I think I did actually have Jessica announce me at Naples. The next two after it, I have not had people announce me. Like I don't. And when they say the thing,
Feeling like awkward even when you were talking about me. I'm like, haha, for the first 30 seconds, like, girl,
right?
I am just gonna slide to the
I'm just
back,
gonna like, and it's
Yeah.
yeah, and I feel like people think that that's a like, oh, you're not owning your success, or for me, it's a humility thing. Like I push myself like you incredibly hard, but I'm not that like jazzed on Leigh. Like, oh, I woke up being excellent this morning. Like, I'm
Yeah.
focused on the thing I didn't do, the thing I burnt, like whatever I
Sure.
ruined, the thing I shouldn't have said yesterday, whatever it is, I'm on that like most people, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I get this like people think, oh, you're extroverted. I think it's marketing. When you're a good marketer and like you know how to connect with people on a broader level. But I love a conversation like this. I don't like speaking into a camera by
Hmm.
myself. My first TED talk was during the pandemic. I had to give the whole TED talk to a camera.
Yeah.
So weird.
Uh,
Like there's no feedback. I'm not doing it for my own face. I'm doing it for interaction. Have you been able to mentor and support a lot of realtors in the community? I'm assuming yes, because you're just such a
yeah.
like being of service person.
Yeah, I have definitely. And, I always joke with them because they tell me, like, oh, you've made me so anal and you've made me so detailed because I am like such a rule person, such a law person, such a like details and specific on the contracts. I know all the things about all the nuances. So they're all like, gosh, at least I know I've made some great realtors out there because they're so picky and think about things that, like, legally, they probably would have just been like, oh, it's fine. I'm like, no, 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 we got to do this. We got to do this for them. So yeah, it's
Where do you
been,
get that from? Your mom, your dad? Like where do you get that
I,
attention to detail, we'll call it?
I guess my dad. I mean, probably my
Okay.
mom too, but I feel like my dad, I'm very similar to that. And I actually had the president of my brokerage tell me one time, like, oh, no, you're definitely like a C personality as part of it, right? Like rules and this. And I'm like, no, I don't think I'm really like that. And then 5 minutes later, I'm like, yeah, but that's not what the law says. And I go, okay, I hear it. Like, okay.
Yeah, self-awareness is like
I
kicking.
am like a right and wrong kind of person, and I will do the right thing. I think it's where I'm from, like that South Central Pennsylvania, like work ethic. It's like you do what you say you're going to do. My dad instilled that. Your integrity is everything, and when what you do when people aren't looking. So, especially here, I'm always in people's houses. 90% of my clients do not live here. Like I've sold deals, I've never even met them, but we've closed everything successfully. So you have to have integrity when you're doing that. You're in people's homes and dealing with their personal stuff.
Are you a Capricorn?
I am. My
Yeah.
birthday was a few days ago, so yes, I
Well,
am.
no, that's why I know that you're a Capricorn. I would have guessed more of a like Libra because they're all about like the fair scale balancing of the world. But Capricorns are very much the people who will pull out the rule book and during a board game. That's for sure.
You don't want
That's
to
for
play.
sure.
We get very competitive.
No?
No.
How are you at Scrabble?
I haven't played in many, many years, I have to say, but I banned Monopoly from our house because I just got
It
mad.
gets too intense.
My husband like took everything and I was over there negotiating as the realtor for my kids. Like, no, you shouldn't be able to take this hotel because of whatever. And I'm like, that's it. We're not playing these games that are like too much.
Did you get play the game of life? Did you guys ever play that as a family? We just played that recently.
I know because I try to do games that aren't too competitive, right? Like Mexican Train we love and different card games. But like if it gets too detailed, it doesn't work here. If we're too competitive.
I just love that they make the kids pick jobs, and if you go to college, you have to wait longer to get a job, but when you get a job, it's worth more. And there's a lot of good life examples, but I have a young son, so whenever the youngest is playing, they do not like losing.
Obviously.
So that doesn't he was very mad. He threw his little fake people back in the box and was like, forget his family.
I know.
Forget this family. There's no board flipping. We do have chess and checkers on the table right now. I like that though. I love fostering like trivia night and that kind of thing. I'm not highly competitive though. Were you always a competitive person? Did you play
Always.
sports?
Always. Yeah, I played field hockey as a, middle school and high school. And I remember even in elementary school, I had like it was a fun rivalry, but like one of my friends, this boy in my class, we would see who could get done with the test faster. Like every single time we'd like look at each other, like it was me. And I was always the fastest. Like, I don't know. I've just been competitive about everything. So
Everything. It sounds
I
like
don't know what to tell
everything.
you. I mean, I'm in my soft girl era these days, right? Like I'm in my it's not good to be so hyped all the time, right? So
I
I'm
just like
like,
had an image of you just like beating girls with like a hockey stick because I know those field hockey girls are no joke. I'm from the Northeast, so I
yeah,
know.
yeah. I mean, it was fitting. I enjoyed it. Let's put it that way, right?
The
So
best uniforms of all the sports teams, if you ask me, though. Field hockey keeping plaid skirts cool since like the beginning of stick sports. Do you guys have any sports teams as a family? Do you guys watch? Are you a sports watching team? Do you have team peoples?
My kids both play volleyball, so we are more in person watching, volleyball a lot since they both play it. And I enjoy it. Like my husband he's from Europe, so he watches soccer and Formula One, and that's about it. But I appreciate that he doesn't watch other sports.
Are
So
your kids competitive?
yes, definitely.
They are, and
They
with each other, I'm sure.
No, not with each other, actually.
No.
We've really tried to foster like a win for the Menkhorst is a win. For one of us, it's a win for the whole family, and I'm sure there's probably times they're going to be a little competitive with each other, but they're 3 years apart, you know.
Oh, that's a good age
Yeah,
difference
good
too.
big sister, older sister, they hang out with similar friends, like, it's their best friends, so it's good. They're not competitive. We aren't competitive internally, just just externally, right?
And I know you guys love vacations. Where are some of the favorite places you've been?
Yes, definitely love vacation. I think my favorite was Switzerland.
Mm.
Uh, we last year went to Paris and Monte Carlo, and I'm planning a big trip for the following year, hopefully to go back to Australia because my family has never been. So we are big travelers. Love to go to Europe every summer. And I mean, again, my husband is from there, so my in-laws are still there. It makes it fun to go back and see family and then try new places.
Well, you were young last time you went to Australia when you guys were first like getting together,
I
marrying.
no, what's funny is my mom again talk about fostering that independence. I realized that's what kick-started it is I was 15. My mom let me go to Australia with my best friend. Yeah, I had that in the book. And
Mm-hmm.
my friend had an uncle that like she barely knew. And my mom was like, or my parents were like, yeah, sure, go for the summer to Australia. And I'm like, I don't even let my 13-year-old like cross the street without me these days. I'm like,
Right?
but we had the best time. I had a pet kangaroo. We got to explore everything. So yeah, it was just a great time. And I realized how much I loved to travel and I wasn't homesick. I knew I could always come home. So I really enjoyed it. But my family has never been, and I'm like, there's no place. That was probably my all-time favorite place. So I want to
Did
visit.
did that make your Florida move easier, you feel, later? Like because you had already like kind of gone to the other hemisphere?
Yeah, I definitely think so. I mean, again, like I said, when I went to college, I went to college in North Carolina. So I would go home some, but I really loved it. I loved being independent. I liked going home for a weekend, but like having to figure life out on my own. And yeah, traveling was part of that because I just wanted to go to new places. And like I said, if I hated it, I knew, well, it's okay. I could just go back home.
Right. Well, what does work-life balance look like for you now? What's success look like?
Sure. So, I mean, there was many years that I hustled, right? Getting into all of this, like we all do, working way too much, but it's paid off dividends. I'd say since 2020, I really took a step back and set boundaries for my business. And that includes mainly like systems and automation, um, giving more details. So like, again, most of my people are relocation, second time home buyers and sellers. So they need resources, right? You're trying to explore Naples, figure out where to go. I've created a ton of resources for them, and that's really helped scale my business because now they can binge watch. I've got a YouTube series not about real estate, but about Naples. So they can binge watch what to do here, places to go, best beaches, best communities. And I've got a ton of guides, relocation guides, pros and cons of each area. There's just so much information that I've created for people. So I feel like that's really helped me be able to serve people better, but not spin my wheels and have the same conversation 52 times.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And something I saw recently, which I love, I did not know you could do this, but in ChatGPT, you can create your own chatbot. Did you know this? And you feed it all the information, all the documents, all the things, and then your people can actually subscribe to that ChatGPT, and they can ask it questions.
No, I did not. So maybe add that to the ever-going list in 2026.
Ever going list? No, it actually not so bad. So, like I'm a publicist. I do publicity for people. So each of my clients has their own ChatGPT instance, and every document about them goes into their own ChatGPT. So if I'm spitballing ideas or thinking about something new, they know context, right? Because a lot of times when you're in those AI apps, you asked about tacos and then you asked about like interest rates and like in the
Right.
same thread, and it's like all over the place. So then I went a step deeper. One of our authors in Chicago, shout out to Holly Russ, whose husband is battling cancer right now, but they are just kicking cancer's ass. So shout out Holly and her husband, Adam. But she built Hollybots. And so her clients have access to Hollybots, and she trained each of them over the course of 6 months. She did 6 bots in different areas of her expertise,
Hmm.
to share that out with people. So for anybody listening, for our some viewers or listeners, that's exciting news for you because of watching the show. You're in the know of something you may not have known how to do. If you're if you're younger than Kim and I, you probably know how to do everything at this point. But and you're younger than me even, and even the kids beyond our age, your kids like they know how to do everything. But very cool because it sounds like you've been doing that. Honestly, like you've been giving people their own chat version of Kim by providing so much resource and information. What was it like filming the series that you did on Naples?
Well, I mean, this is a good chance to encourage people to just do it, right? Because I laugh now looking back at when I first started recording where I was like, "Duh, duh, 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 my name," you know, I couldn't speak. I had to do it 100,000 times. And now, like you said, you get in your own head and what do I look like? And then I'm like, now I'm like, I don't care. I look how I look. People see me anyway. I can do it in one shot now. I call my videographer, do it here. I'm doing my own, whatever. Just record it one time and move on. So it's been but it took me a while, right? At first you're like, and then I do still get a little awkward when I'm recording somewhere on location where people are just like watching you, and I'm like, oh.
Like
Like,
SpongeBob eyes on that, like
they get all up in your business, and I'm like, subscribe, right?
I
But
know. Luckily now you see influencers in the wild everywhere, so it's like
I
the one
know,
thing
but
you
that's not my generation, right? Like sometimes I get awkward.
can.
Can you just take a picture of me? And I feel awkward, and then I see the kids like TikToking there, and I'm like, all right, I don't know why who cares?
Like, right? But no, it goes back to the conversation about being introverted versus being extroverted, and also like putting yourself out there in that way. And also to your point, like even with this show, like we were talking offline before you joined, this is 2026, obviously new season, but you learn, right? I mean, in the beginning, I recorded all the episodes in August. I started then, but I ended up with a 4 week backlog, right? So I had to get through a lot of episodes, and then conversations that weren't relevant or timely were like getting dust. And but you don't know until you do it. And I don't know that I would like get like the stammering on camera as much as the just like what to say and how to say it and where to stand and not look awkward and just I don't know. It's a whole thing. And content creation itself, it takes like a lot of putting yourself out there and
Yeah.
being judged.
Yeah.
I mean, all these people out there who think they're gonna like produce content and not be judged. I mean, like that's exactly what's gonna happen. Some will judge you favorably. Most will judge you favorably. Some will not, but some people don't judge anything favorably, so it doesn't really matter.
Now what they say,
Um,
made it until you have your trolls, right? So like I haven't had that yet, so I guess I haven't quite made it, but like
yeah, no, but once you reach a
angry
large enough,
Canadians on my last one where I'm like, I'm just posting about Florida. Okay. I'm sorry you hate Florida, but you don't have to come here.
no, I wait for the trolls now because like when I've had stories that have gone viral in like when I wrote for HuffPost and stuff like that, all of a sudden I would see like terrible comments. And I'm like, oh my God, it must have reached a lot of people. If people are gonna hate on the kindness lady, I did acts of kindness, like what are you mad about? Like, oh, she just wants attention. Okay, about kindness, so sure. Yeah, you do too. You just made a comment. Like you don't want attention. Hello. You're in the comment section. What are you doing? And so I think that that takes some getting used to too. It's just, being feeling comfortable, being feeling confident, feeling natural and being yourself. And I think it is getting easier for a lot of people too, because, kind of what you see is what you get. And I hope to do my Care Bear stare so like well that the people that it like detracts from my life are repelled,
Yeah.
and I never felt that way more until like I hit this age. Do you feel like that? Do you feel like you're like the need for validation is falling away year by
I
year?
have zero need for validation. Like I get it from my family, my husband, but even, I mean, I appreciate like I get, top producer awards and stuff, but we were just cleaning stuff out and I'm like, can I throw these away? Like it feels wrong to do that, but like I don't
I
care.
don't
Some
care.
people have them on their shelves, like they like to pretend it's whatever, but I'm like, I really don't need any of that. The validation that I appreciate is when people tell me, hey, you did such a great job. You're amazing. Like actual clients that I work with, like that's all the validation I need because that's why I'm doing it. But I also think when you're going back, one of the best things my dad ever taught me was you can do everything perfect and people are still not going to like you. And I stick with that. Like I try to tell my kids because it's true, right? I don't people please. I never was a people pleaser really. But yeah, it's true. I just want to find clients that I click with, clients who appreciate my input, because I've definitely had clients who try to argue with everything left and right. That like, why did you hire me? And do a good job.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I've really been finding, and I found that when niche down with the marketing, like we were talking about, you do attract, I mean, you're a great example of this too. You do attract the people that you want, that are similar to you, have similar values. Sometimes when people come to me and I find out things about them, I'm like, oh, that's so weird. Like it's such a great thing that we have in common that who would have known, but they're just drawn to you, especially when you put stuff online. It's like the right people come to who you are. And the people that aren't, like, you can go hire somebody else. That's fine with me.
Like that's my thing is like there's 8 billion people on the planet. Not all of them are for you. Even Jesus Christ didn't get away unscathed,
Perfect. And
clearly.
yeah, they didn't like it either. So
And not to say like in any God complex way, but to be the kindness lady, to do acts of kindness and to still find haters, it proves your dad's theory. Like you
yeah.
can be the nicest, kindest person in the world, just out for everyone else and doing what you can to be a positive influence on society, and someone's got something to say. And a
Mhm.
lot of it is projection, right? So I remember during the kindness years, like I would be sharing, and I had to ask myself. So when people were like, "Are you doing it for attention?" I had to ask myself that question because it bothered me. Why does it bother me if it's not true? So I had to ask myself, "What are your motives?" And I thought about when I would do the acts of kindness, like let's say I paid for the coffee of the person in front of me. I would drive off. I wouldn't be waiting to be like, "Hey,
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
really doing attention," because you would want it all the way through. So I thought, well, what are you doing it for? I'm like, I really want to inspire other people to give back because it really does feel good when it's coming from a genuine, non-performative way. Generosity of spirit is literally the highest vibration you can experience as a human, and being of service is like a wonderful thing.
Mhm.
And so once I evaluated that, right, then when I'm posting and people are like, "Oh my God, she's just," that's because they couldn't imagine doing it themselves without that reason. That's projection, right? If they were in your shoes, the only reason they'd be sharing about taking up the neighbor's garbage cans is for validation or for attention. And
Mhm.
so their assumption is you're doing the same. And that's why I think it's so important that we are very clear in our own hearts and minds of who we are, what we stand for. And to your point earlier, do that loud, stumble while you do it, trip up stage, spill the soda, do what you got to do. But the people who love you for being exactly who you are, you're allowing them to find you by living out loud, by writing the book, by writing the chapter, by having the article, and the trophy thing, if it feels good to recognize what you've accomplished, that's great. If you remember what you've accomplished, you can do that without material objects to remind you. But what you've done in the community really is and listen, I tell women all the time when I interview them just for the project beyond before the podcast, my number one thing is being of service. And I think that you are service minded in everything you do, and everything you do is really to serve the community and to serve others. Do you feel like that's true? And how has service impacted you?
100%. And I feel like, I mean, I definitely go above and beyond, no doubt about it. Like even when we are after contract and things have sold, there's so many people or realtors that would just be like, I'm done, you figure it out. No, I'm still there after. Like, I had one recently where the girl, I knew she had to work and she can't take off the time. So I'm like, I'll meet the painter. Like I already set up quotes for everything prior, but I'm like, I'll meet them to do it. I'll let your electrician in. I'll do all the things. I don't have to do any of that, but I wanted to help her. I genuinely do want to help people and make life easier, because I know when I mostly deal with CEOs, business, entrepreneurs too, and business leaders. So I know how busy we all are, right? I mean, even families, like you're busy, you got to pick up your kids, you got to do this. If I can make life a little bit easier, this is a stressful situation. So I'm trying as much as I can to keep it as easy as possible. And I take on the stress more, sometimes more than I probably should, of other people. But I really do see every transaction, I treat it like, what would I want done if it was my house? And so I feel like being an entrepreneur, I've elevated my own standards, because now I'm like, I don't get it. I do this for my client. Why can't someone just pick up the
Right.
just do whatever? But it's really like I treat it how I would want someone to treat my home, treat my meeting vendors, looking out for their money. Like I want someone who would do all of those things for me. And I choose that when I'm choosing a financial advisor, an attorney. Like I want the best of the best. So I'm going to be the best of the best for my clients, because I always say I'm not about transactions like a lot of people could be. I'm not saying everyone, but some of them can be just about the transaction. I really want them to have a great experience that they go on and tell all of their friends. And, this was so easy. I've had people get their real estate license after working with me, like, oh my gosh, this is so easy and great. And then they're like, just kidding, this was terrible. Like, yeah, I tried.
Yeah.
It was awful. I don't know how you do this every day. I'm like, yeah, it's not as easy as you think, but.
Well, thanks for making it look easy. And obviously, follow Kim. She's at Lavish Living Naples FL on Instagram. All one word. Kimberley Menkhorst, Menkhorst. And Google her, look her up, follow her because what she's coming out with, hopefully within the year or the next few months or whatever, what that timeline looks like, you want to know, especially if you are somebody interested in real estate and you want your life to be easier. And she's just a wealth of information. Again, really poured into the community, wants you to learn about Naples, wants you to learn about real estate, wants you to be able to feel confident in your decision making abilities by having the knowledge necessary. And again, that's the difference between people who are self-serving and serving others. She doesn't have to do all the extra things, right? Obviously, you're very established. You've got a great business. You don't even need business cards. She doesn't even need business cards. But to want to keep pouring into others and make sure that if you've experienced it or you've learned from it, that other people have access to that information is great. They built a whole intelligence model around it. So thanks for being a part of the show. Everybody follow Kim. Thanks for being the first episode too of 2026. We still have one 2025 one in the can, which I'm excited to share. But you are the beginning of the new season. So thanks for being a part of it. Thanks for being a part of the series too and sharing your story. If you guys want to read more about Kim's story, and you also can find her social links in her chapter, it is Slaying Naples, available on Kindle and Amazon. And I will see the rest of you all soon.
Thanks.
Bye.
Great. Bye.